Hello everybody, this is Johns Hopkins with Baltimore Heritage, and we're back with another of our 5-Minute Histories videos. And today I am not in Baltimore. I am out in western Maryland in Garrett County at New Germany State Park. About 80 years ago, there were hundreds of young Baltimore men out here as part of the Civilian Conservation Corps, wielding shovels and spades and really building this state park. That's what we're going to talk about today. If you're watching more or less real time, you'll know it's the summer, and we decided to take a summer field trip out here to try to help make the connection between Baltimore and then this other place in Maryland. We may do a few more over the summer, so stay tuned. Before I turn it over to Park Ranger Noah Mangus, I'd like to just say a few words and catch us up to speed on the Civilian Conservation Corps and New Germany State Park. We're going to start our story in 1932. That's when a New York governor named Franklin Delano Roosevelt was running for office. Part of his platform, office meaning the presidency, part of his platform was to try to control soil erosion and restore national forests using the labor of young men from cities. And surprise, he won the election, and in his first 100 days, called the 100 days, he got through a number of pieces of legislation that created the New Deal. One of those, and let me get the name right, was called the Emergency Conservation Work Act. We know it today as the Civilian Conservation Corps, or the CCC, but that got through, and it had an incredible effect. It didn't last long. It lasted about 9 years, but during those 9 years, upwards of 3 million young men were employed all across the country. They were doing things like planting trees and building stone walls, stringing telephone wires, erecting cabins, and building fire roads, all sorts of stuff all over. Get these few numbers. In that 9 years, 3,470 fire towers were erected, 97,000 miles of fire roads were built, 3 billion trees were planted, and New Germany State Park was built. In Maryland, we had about 30,000 young men participate in the program, and they made lakes, they built cabins, they cleared hiking trails, and they built really our first big state parks, Elk Neck in Cecil County, Pocomoke out on the eastern shore, Cedarville and Prince George's in Charles County, all CCC folks, and of course here in New Germany State Park. Just a word about that before I turn it over to Ranger Noah. It was turned into a state park in 1929, a partnership between the Federal Utilization Land Program and the Maryland Board of Forestry. Before it was a state park, it was a milling center, both a grist mill for grains and a sawmill. The folks here, the private landowners, had dammed up Poplar Run Lick, a small stream, and created a small lake that they used as their water source for power. And then it became part of this larger Savage River State Forest. And it got its first CCC camp of young men in 1933. So just after the program got started, we were one of the first out of the block, so to speak. And it drew from young men in Baltimore, really boys as young as 15. You were supposed to be 18, but young boys as young as 15 were out here. They got trained at Fort Holabird in Baltimore, and then took the B&O Railroad out here to this new state park, and then took a truck to get here, living in tents. It was Company 326 at Camp S52. If you're a CCC buff, that's who was out here. And they worked for about 5 years in this state park. They rebuilt the dam that now holds back, creates a lake of 13 acres. They planted thousands of trees, and they built a boathouse and gazebo and pavilions. And they built the wonderful, lovely cabin that is behind me, and a bunch of other cabins. And with that, I am going to stop and turn it over to Ranger Noah to tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Hi everyone, my name's Noah Mangus. I'm a ranger here at New Germany State Park. So behind me is cabin 1, and so we have 12 cabins here in the beautiful park. 11 of them were built by the CCC, and then our 12th one was bought from a private landowner. If you're into historical things, then definitely come stay in our cabins, because it's a way to be connected to history while getting some modern feels with the park. In each cabin, you'll find a notebook in it, and in the back is a journal by Bill Martin. He lived here in the park before the CCC came, and then after the CCC was here, he also helped them, and in his house, you'll see it next to cabin 11 is where he lived. He has a journal in there of basically everything he remembers from the CCC and from the time here, and also whenever New Germany was a ski resort here in the 40s. He also has a really cool thing in there, so I definitely recommend checking that out. One cool thing about New Germany State Park is that we have no cell phone service here in the park, so it's a cool way to get away in our modern ways. We're a 483-acre park, and we also have a 13-acre lake, so there's lots of opportunity for fishing, for kayaking, and swimming. We have a nice beach, and then we have lots of trails. We have about 9 miles of trails, rather. So right now, as you see around me, we're here in the spring. You see all the green trees and the birds chirping, but I highly recommend trying out coming here in the wintertime. Wintertime is probably our most popular time here at New Germany, because we have a lot of cross-country ski trails. In our lake house, which is the main focal point of the park, you can find ski rentals, and then we also have a really nice snack bar and a nice warming hut around there. It's very popular, people love it, and I definitely encourage you to come out and stay and pay us a little visit.